What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams here with The Distance. Got a fantasy matchup for you guys. This one I should have done not too long ago, but I've been away for a while. So I finally decided to do this one. I did the other one yesterday to kind of do one to get prepared for this one. This one has been quite overdue for quite some time, but this one is David Tua versus Muhammad Ali heavyweight bout. Puts together one of the greatest pound-for-pound fighters of all time, Muhammad Ali, against perhaps pretty much one of the better contenders of the 90s that has who's David Tua, who's been in contention in two different eras of heavyweight boxing. You know, from pretty much the late 90s to now the late 2000s, early 2010s. I don't really know if you could say whether or not he's in contention, but he's still there. You know, compared to a lot of fighters who were fighting in that time frame, you know, he's pretty much the only one that's still winning. But just like many other fighters who were heavyweight fighters back then, like some of his rivals such as John Ruiz, Hasim Rahman, I believe Oleg Maskayev, was another rival. Fighters such as these are kind of on their way out, and he's still fighting. Still fighting a few opponents. Just had a victory over Friday Ahunanya back in April. But you know, David Tua is still there. He's still fighting. So, what do I think of this matchup against one of the greatest fighters of all time against one of the better contenders in, I guess you could say, 90s heavyweight boxing, one of the best contenders? Well, in 2000, Lennox Lewis pretty much laid the blueprint out on how to defeat David Tua. He laid the blueprint out, and that blueprint was to create space against David Tua, create space and not let David Tua get inside. When David Tua got inside, kind of hold him down, and Ali was kind of the master at doing that. And Ali didn't really do that until he kind of lost the speed and agility that he had before he lost those 3 years as a heavyweight boxer. You know, as a boxer in general. When, you know, from I believe 68 to 71, he didn't fight a single fight, and he lost that speed. And you know, when you lose that many years, you do tend to lose, you know, some of your athletic abilities, especially if you're not involved in the sport. So Muhammad Ali, you know, lost the speed, lost the reflexes, and some of the agility, but he came back a much smarter fighter than he was, you know, say, you know, 1964, 65. And one of my favorite Muhammad Ali bouts to watch is Muhammad Ali versus Cleveland Williams too. I love watching that bout, and I never get tired of watching it. So anyway, on to the matchup. David Tua versus Muhammad Ali. David Tua is known for throwing that left hook and putting you to sleep with that left hook. But at the same time, he can put you to sleep with the right hook. And with David Tua's style, David Tua continuously walks forward. And sometimes when he wants to get inside, he throws that jab, but when there's an opening inside, he just kind of walks forward and he leads in and he throws that left hook or the right hook. Pretty much his power shots primarily consist of left and right hooks, especially when he gets inside. And when he gets inside, that's pretty much his comfort zone. But when he's on the outside, he's not in that comfort zone. Muhammad Ali threw a very good left jab, as I mentioned in previous fantasy matchups. He threw a very good left jab, and the left jab was used for many different methods. He used it. Sometimes he hooked off that jab, hooked off the left jab, used it to set up the right hand, or used it to create space. Or sometimes he used the jab to kind of set up his movement a little bit. And Muhammad Ali did a very good job of turning angles and turning to those angles very quickly. And David Tua, being, standing up and walking in, would have a lot of trouble against the fighter who kind of turned quickly, was able to get into that angular motion and consistently stay at that angular motion, for an entire fight. If not, 9-10 rounds. Muhammad Ali, and on top of that, David Tua is the type of fighter that continuously comes forward, and he always comes forward, and he's one of those guys that's looking for a fight. And Muhammad Ali at that time was not looking for a fight necessarily. He wasn't necessarily looking for a fight. He was looking for a boxing match. And I don't think Muhammad Ali, if he knew the punching power of David Tua, if he knew how hard he could punch and how he could put people on the canvas and knock people out, and the fact that he continuously came, I don't think he would take the risk against David Tua. I think Muhammad Ali would keep that left jab out there to create the space, set up the right hand, hook off of it, and move around and use his angles, because with David, as I mentioned, with David Tua, he would have to actually turn while Muhammad Ali is moving laterally. He's moving laterally and angularly. So David Tua would have to adjust to that, or those two key things right there. Not only is he trying to adjust to that, but he's gonna have to think more. He's gonna have to think more of how am I gonna get inside this left jab when I fight this way, and his jab and his reach is longer than mine. He's big and he's taller than me, and it's like, how do I get inside a fighter who moves a lot, uses a lot of angles, and more than likely I can't catch? And he's gonna have to time Muhammad Ali, and it would be hard for David Tua to time Muhammad Ali, due to the fact that David Tua, as I mentioned, is the type of fighter that stands up, squares up with you, and has to square up with you to catch you. And there's times that David Tua could land his shots from out of range. There's been a couple occasions where he's landed shots out of range, but against lesser opponents. While against Muhammad Ali, I think Muhammad Ali would probably move out of the way and duck out of the way. It was a little too fast for David Tua, and I think he was a little too fast. I think he has a little more in his arsenal to defeat David Tua by a unanimous decision. So I'm gonna go with Muhammad Ali unanimous decision. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. That was The Distance. Peace.